Okay, here we are, part two. So, as I was saying, Paul McCartney has reissued all his records. And he was going on about how he spent so much time and wanted them to sound the best. They went back to the master tapes and they made him so great. So, of course, I was keeping an eye on him, and I saw that his first one went on sale. So I bought it, brought it home, we put it on the turntable, and I played it. And man, was that package ever wonderful. They're all like double records, the big thick covers, the inner sleeves had beautiful artwork all over them. Pressings were beautiful. We put the record on, they sounded nice, but what do you compare it to? So we pull the record out, right? We pull this out. Now this isn't even a first edition. But we pull this one out, we put it on the turntable. My son and I were listening to it, and I wanted that new one to sound better. But Carl, we just kept going back to this, and it's like, my son and I both said, no, Dad, the drums, you can really hear the skin of the drum much better on this pressing than you can on that other one. So of course I sold that back on eBay, and then as a result of that, I went on eBay and I got an early edition of Ram, and I got the early edition of Band on the Run. But you know what? Try to find a first edition of this. There might be one or so on eBay. These first came out on the Japanese red vinyl, and they want $200, $250 for it. And I don't want to pay that much for records, so I keep my eye on it. It's on my list. I keep looking, for it here and there. Eventually I'll get it. Now, when it comes to the Beatles, of course, I got the white LP. This is like I think a very early second edition, or it's the first edition, but it's not on the red. It's on the black vinyl. But it's a pristine copy, and it sounds. I had the red vinyl. This one sounds just as good as the red vinyl. Now, Abbey Road. This is on the Pro U series, and the Pro U series is a half-speed master version of this record, and this is the best-sounding record, Abbey Road, that you're going to ever find anywhere. So that's why I've got this. And then, I used to have all the Beatles. I had them all on Japanese records, but of course they were probably a third edition, the EAS series. So when they remastered the Beatles, I decided I'll sell all those third edition, fourth edition Japanese records that I have of the Beatles, and I bought the box. Now, if I want to listen to the Beatles, hey, I've got a few records I can listen to. So my son said he won't let me open up the box. I can't open up the Beatle box. We're going to save it. Okay, so next, Jeff Beck, Truth. If you don't know this record, this is a great record. Rod Stewart's on this, and this is the only record I have with Rod Stewart on it. It's a great record. Great record, great guitar work and everything else on there. Of course, then I have a few other Jeff Beck records, Blow by Blow and Wired. Wired's good. And now, okay, here we go. Another one of those gems that I want to talk about. Another band that a lot of people don't know about. Beggar's Opera. This is a great record on here. They always used to do, see, it's got MacArthur's Park on here, I think. Yeah, MacArthur Park. They always used to do one on this other record. On this, they do Classical Gas, but this is a phenomenal record right here. One of my favorite records right here. Both of these, some of my favorite records. So if you get a chance to listen to some Beggar's Opera, you need to check them out. Of course, there's another Beggar's Opera record that's really good. They've got a few records out. This one here, Waters That Change, is another good one. Okay, so now you might not be familiar with Blackfoot. But if you like Southern rock, this is a good Southern rock LP right here. And they've got some really good hits on here, Train and some other ones. So this is the Blackfoot record that I have, because I think this is the best one that they put out. So I don't have all the Blackfoot records. I used to have a few others. I sold them because I just didn't listen to them. If I want some Blackfoot, that's the one I go to. Okay, now, most people have this stuff in their collection. All Black Sabbath. Everybody's got this stuff. But here's an interesting one here. Of course, it's the Vertigo Swirl. Now, if you don't know about the Vertigo Swirl, it's a a label that came out for a couple years in the early 70s, and it became very collectible. Okay, look out, don't get dizzy. This is what you call a Vertigo Swirl label. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like you're in a little time tunnel there, and you're getting vertigo. So that's why they call it the old Vertigo Swirl label. Okay, so now we've seen what the Vertigo Swirl is. And we'll go back to Beggar's Opera. You know, they're on the Vertigo Swirl label. That's one of these records that's on the Vertigo Swirl. Just like Black Sabbath, when they first came out, they were on the Vertigo Swirl. It was, I forget, Polygram or one of those big record companies, they decided they were going to have like a little progressive kind of a label, put all these different groups on there. And you know what? That label's become so collectible, and I would say probably 80% of the stuff on it, I don't even want to own it. It really isn't that good of music. Well, you can't tell those swirl collectors. They think it's all good, but really it's not. But you know, a band like Black Sabbath, and you know, they're on the Swirl. This is a Japanese one. I've had the German one and some UK ones, but you know, now that they've reissued all this stuff, Rhino's reissued it. This Castle reissues that came out, you know, in the early, by maybe about 10 years ago. They're really, really good. They're a lot better than them old Swirl first editions and that. So that's what I've got. And you know, like I said, the Rhinos are really good. This one here is a WWH label, an original, and that still sounds really good. Really, I really love it. Okay, so now we're going to go to a band that everybody's heard about, Blue Oyster Cult. The reason I point this out is that this is one of my favorite bands. And even though, like I've got rid of all the, I don't collect a group just for the sake of collecting it, this is one of the ones that I've still kind of held on to. I've still got a few Blue Oyster Cult records in here that I don't ever listen to. But, you know, I'm just going to keep them because I wanted to have like basically all the Blue Oyster Cult records. But this one here, the first one, Tyranny and Mutation, and Secret Treaties. Those three are phenomenal. If you don't know anything about Blue Oyster Cult, you like hard rock and roll, great lyrics, great guitar work. I'm talking great guitar work, great drumming, great singing. This is the band. Get some of these three records here. Get them. Of course, I mean there's all kinds of Blue Oyster Cult records, and I've got them all on the you know, this Club Ninja too. I really like that one. That's pretty good. But moving on, another band I'd like to point out, if you don't know about, they're a Canadian band, is Blue Rodeo. Now this is a really, really good record right here. If you haven't heard about Blue Rodeo, go on YouTube, look them up, and you'll be really be impressed. That's a really good sounding record, and it's a really good record. Now, of course, you can't get this on. These are a little bit more modern. This is late '80s, so you can't, and it's, you know, you can't find it on a Japanese, or it hasn't, and they haven't been reissued. Outskirts is another good one. So I've just got the original Canadian release of those records. Now here's one, Boot Sauce. I like this group. This is a really good record too. They're from Montreal. I like that. That's another good record there. Okay, Boston. This is interesting. Everybody knows about this Boston, right? The first Boston LP. I used to have the Mobile Fidelity half-speed master of this record, and I had it for years. Or what? No, I think it was the CBS. That's right, CBS Master half-speed master series. They had that little CBS half-speed, and I had that one for years, and it sounded really good. But it always had a little bit of kind of a something about it, kind of the high-end, kind of a bit of a shrill to it. And then Friday Music reissued this, and I'm telling you what, I got rid of that other half-speed master. This one is the best sounding one now. This sounds really good. Better than the Japanese one, better than any of the other ones that I've had. So that's something to look out for. And then, of course, now we get into David Bowie. Now, the only record that I know that's been reissued now is this Ziggy Stardust, and it's the 40th anniversary edition. It says High Res Audio Edition, and you know what? It is. I had this on a second edition Japanese press, and it sounded really nice. But that first edition Japanese, on the what is it, glam rock OB like this here. Man, they're 200, 3. This guy, one guy's got one on for $500 on eBay. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'll just keep my eye out. But this one sounded better than the second edition, so I'm happy with this. And this is, again, you know, it's got the gatefold. It's big and thick. It's got the really nice artwork on it and all that. So I'm really happy with that record. But now, that's the only one. They haven't reissued all the David Bowie stuff. There's a lot of groups they haven't reissued it. So what I've done, I've gone back and I've tried to get the first edition of the Japanese record. So Station to Station. This is a first edition, Japanese. And Aladdin Sane. You got that glam rock will be on there. That's the first edition. All these other first editions, you know, and this is a great record. If you haven't heard this, get this. This is fantastic. All these ones I'm pulling out, these are the years I'm talking about. 72, 73, 74. That's the years I love. These are great. And so, and Diamond Dogs. And up to that, of course, the Hunky-Dory. This is a second edition. See, it's different. It doesn't have that glam rock on it because it's a second edition. This, for some reason, very rare. You can't find a first edition of this hardly ever. I've seen one, and it had a fake OB on it. But it does have, you know, the texture cover, so it sounds really nice. But that said, I got rid of all the other ones, you know, because I never listened to them. Oh, here I go. Of course, I got a couple, but moving along. Here's a record, really good record you probably don't know about. Arthur Brown's Kingdom Come Journey. Check that one out. That's pretty good. And then we get into the Savoy Brown records. We've got Looking In. These are all really, really good records. I just went all through this stuff, listened to them all again, you know, cleaned them all, and I kept every one of them because they're all really good. All the Savoy Brown stuff, Hellbound Train. I mean, look it up on YouTube, have a listen to it. You'll see it's kind of a blues rock kind of stuff, and they're all on the Parrot label, and they're all like near mints. So that's really good. Now here's another one of them gems. Camel, Mirage. That's another one of my favorite records right here. Great guitar work, great singing, great keyboards, and a lot of keyboards on this if you like keyboards. And it's not only about great musicianship, it's about great sounds. It's about great songs. It's the way they put the stuff together. It's just one of the all-time great records, and a lot of people don't know about it because it was never any kind of a mainstream play. And they've got a couple of the records that aren't too bad. This one here is pretty good too. Okay, now there's a band that you probably don't know about, Can. They've got a few records. Now these people, they're from their late 60s, early 70s, and they're kind of almost contemporary. I mean, they sound like they're from the 80s or the 90s. And then we've got Canned Heat, like Canned Heat. Okay, here we go again. Another one of my favorite records of all time, Captain Beyond. These guys is X, Deep Purple, and Iron Butterfly. And they put this group together. This is like 73 again. They put this together, and this, I'm talking about the excellent songs, excellent musicianship, just one of the all-time great records, rock records. If you love rock and roll and great guitars and drumming and all that, get this. You'll love it. Of course, I got to have a couple Captain Beyonds. Caravan, that's another good group. These are some good records by Caravan. They're another band to look for. There's that Carpenter's record. That's a Christmas record. That's pretty good. Okay, then we'll look through here. What we got next coming up, more or less. Circus of Power. It's pretty good. Check that one out. And we've got some Bruce Coburn in here. Okay, so Leonard Cohen. This is a great record. If you get a chance, this is one of my all-time favorite records. This is a fairly modern record, and it is fantastic. Sound, the songs will blow your mind. They're awesome. This part 2 is going to end now.